Okay, so tonight it is April 24th, 2017, and this is the Fierce Fit Pride team call. And earlier today, I asked you guys a question in our team page. If there was one question you could ask me about moving your business forward, what would it be? So basically, my vision for the call is to briefly touch upon, each of your questions that you provided for me today. And because, it's a decent handful of questions, I want to save any questions or comments for the end of the call, because I also want to touch upon the new Fierce Fit Pride Coach Mentorship, what that is, what that means, what it all entails. And I'm really excited about it. So I want to just make sure that we have the time that we need to get through everything. And obviously, any questions and comments that you have in regards to, what I share as a response to your question, those are things that we can dive into, more in our one-on-one call together, so that, we can give it more of the attention that it needs. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, because I have a PowerPoint, or not a PowerPoint, a Google Slides. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to try and do this just like this. I mean, really, you don't have to see the exact bebops, the pictures. I'll obviously send you the link to this, and I'm pretty much going to talk through any of what's on the pictures anyway. So processing your questions and new coach mentorship details. So first question, how do I find and develop leaders who want to grow and run with the business? So one thing that I've started doing that I think has been pretty telling in our challenge group is creating the opportunity for empowerment and creating the opportunity for our challengers to lead from the front within the group. And by that, I mean, every single day, I post a daily check-in with specific action tasks on it, and people can earn points towards prizes for doing the specific action tasks. And as we know, as coaches, there are specific action tasks that we have to take as coaches in order to build our businesses. So typically the people who are going to follow through on the tasks that you give them are probably, going to be more likely and eager to follow through on other tasks that they know they need to do in order to hold themselves accountable, whether it's in a business, etc. And also, it sort of sheds some light on who's comfortable with posting and having their presence known in the group. And, they're confident in sharing that. And especially, I always share a nugget, a bonus, like share your Motivation Monday post in here and on your personal page with our hashtags. And I have 3 hashtags that I give. And those people who are posting on their personal timeline, that tells me that they're not afraid to share in a more public space as opposed to just privately in our challenge group. So it sort of gives you an idea, okay, these people, these people are racking up a crazy amount of points. Those are the people that I'm definitely going to reach out to and share the business opportunity with. But at the end of the day, we don't develop leaders. We do not develop leaders. It's a choice. And, sort of to speak to the very last bullet point that I have here, this ties into that. Taking ownership of what's yours versus what's theirs. So I was talking to a coach recently who was feeling a little down because one of their downline coaches is no longer doing anything Beachbody, is selling a totally different product. And just feeling down about that, feeling she failed them. And I posed the question, would you take ownership for her success had she been successful with her Beachbody business? And the person's response was absolutely no. Like, her success is her own. Like, she got herself there. And I said, then why on earth would you take responsibility for her failure? The second that you claim that you take responsibility for somebody's failure or somebody's, leadership, for example, you're also claiming that you take responsibility for their success or lack of success, leadership or lack of leadership. So cut all ties to that right now and just know that leadership comes from a place of empowerment. People have to choose to do what they need to do to grow in their leadership and to just seek out that growth for themselves. So some questions to ponder in regards to finding those people who possess those leader-like qualities. What are the qualities that you possess? So think about the approach you take to coaching, your personality type, which is very telling. If you don't know much about your personality type, I really encourage you to dive into that, because it's so awesome to know that there are people out there who are like you are a thing. And that totally ties into obviously finding your target coach, your target customer. Think about your approach to coaching, your personality type, and just, how you lead in everyday life. By example, what are the qualities you possess that make you a leader? And where would you find people like you who have similar qualities? I can't answer that, but I can tell you, for me, I know that teachers do really well in this business. And, obviously I'm a former teacher. I know that teachers typically tend to lead from the front because they have to teach people, whether it's teaching people how to, follow through on a task, or just teaching a lesson to people, duplication. I mean, so much of this business is about teaching, right? Because you have to teach what you know to other people. And then, whether or not they choose to utilize those tools and stand on their own 2 feet, that's ultimately up to them. But like for me, I'm going to find those leaders probably in teacher groups, just as an example. Another thing, sharing examples and nuggets that speak to the leader-like qualities you've acquired through this opportunity on social media. We all start out at ground zero. What did that look like for you? Everybody on this call, you are not the same person that you were when you first got started with coaching. So share those stories. Talk about, this is where I was when I first, started coaching, and here's how this is totally evolved, and everything is just done like a 180 for me. And like I said, ownership of what's yours versus what's theirs. So another one, how do I find people who are committed to life change as opposed to interested? Well, I know for me, I was sick and tired of finding people who were just interested. So I took a screenshot of this post because this spoke specifically to people who aren't like being weenies. So the quote was, if you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. If you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes. And you can go back on my page and sort of read through what exactly I shared, but posing that question, like, are you committed, and really getting the wheels spinning for people. The people who are going to engage on this, if they're not already my customers or they're not already a coach or whatever, those are going to be the people that I reach out to, because they're expressing interest on that post, and they're appreciating what I'm sharing. You know what I mean? If they know that there's somebody who just dabbles with one foot in and 1 foot out, they're going to be like, I'm not going to like that, because that's exactly who I am. You know what I mean? So it's important to consider the language that you use on social media, the content and the imagery that you share. It's super important to obviously combat those objections and excuses within your posts. And obviously the overall message that you relay and what you share and how that speaks to your target audience, that's going to be huge on social media. But also, if you're just finding people who are interested or you're not getting yeses, take a look at your Facebook page and ask yourself, am I showing commitment? Am I showing consistency? Am I leading from the front? Am I trying to be an example? Am I sharing inspiring content that's going to make people think twice? Am I sharing things that explicitly show I'm not messing around? Who's jumping on this freight train of FPI with me? You know what I mean? So if you're not being consistent, if you're not showing commitment, if you're not showing that you're involved in this community at all, you're not going to attract people who are committed, because I mean, people can just, go right to your page and see whether or not like this is something that they want to join with you specifically. There are a million Beachbody coaches out there, not a million, but you know what I mean. And what separates you from the rest? Why should they join you? So you really have to think about the quality of what you're putting out there and what you're sharing. So how can I balance it all with my busy schedule? So first things first, you got to know why. Obviously, we always come back to our why. Got to know why you're doing this in the first place. Has to be strong, has to be unwavering, because when you have a strong why and you really want this to work, you're gonna, look for those strategies, those power pockets of time, everything that I'm about to, share with you here now. So first things first, structure. I mean, obviously, if you don't have structure, if you don't have those set business hours, those set pockets of time that you can look at and say, okay, this is my time. I'm shutting out everything else. This is what I'm focused on, hyper focused on. I'm going to get it done. Then, you're just probably not going to do anything at all. I've been there. I've done that. So create that structure, obviously with your upline, if you're unsure of where or how to find that balance. So what does that look like? It looks like coming to a one-on-one call with, this is what my week looks like this week, if you know what your week looks like. And, figuring out where there are pockets of time. I mean, even if you're carving out 10-minute pockets throughout your day where you're going to do forming, where you're going to send your friend requests, where you're going to, connect with new connections, where you're going to send your invites, or you're going to work on content creation. And also, being able to decipher like, okay, where am I willing to make sacrifices and where am I not willing to make sacrifices? Another thing, you got to get creative with your time. So, oh dear, Kayla just left. This was her question. Hold on. I'm gonna come back to this one just because I don't want her to miss it. So I'm gonna go to how do I get a yes? Hold on, I just want to see something real quick. Yeah, Becky's still on the call. Okay. All right. So how do I get a yes? Hi, Becky. Hi. So first thing you want to do, build excitement and add value before the informational email. Like, I get super freaking pumped when I talk to my people on Messenger, like, just creating that hype around this opportunity that we obviously have this month with the All Access Pass being stupid cheap, like stupid cheap, you guys. I mean, there are over 600 workouts through All Access right now, okay? And I mean, it's over $6,000 worth of programming and meal plans and the cooking show, and obviously the craziness that goes on in our groups, the one-on-one accountability, the portion control containers, I mean, everything, like for a whole year, and the Shakeology, like that's nuts. It's freaking nuts. You gotta start with the belief in what you're sharing for sure, but also get excited about it. Like sometimes we get so hyper-focused on the fact that like, I haven't helped anyone yet this month, that we get so bogged down in just getting a yes that we forget to like radiate that enthusiasm and that passion for what we're sharing and that belief in what we're sharing, like sort of that essence of you'd be freaking cray not to jump on this train right now, and here's why. And, for me, like I personally like to use voice messages because I know that like people can hear my excitement in my voice, but that's not for everyone. When it comes to your informational emails, you got to simplify. You don't want to overcomplicate the information that you share or make it too lengthy. You want to make sure that everything you're sharing in your informational emails is 100% your own. So stay away from copying and pasting information from the Team Beachbody website because you can spot it a mile away. You want it to be 100% authentically you, something that you have crafted on your own. And like I have templates and stuff that, you know, like I think I sent you guys my all access one that I did like a month or something ago, something like that. And I can absolutely, you know, share that with you guys again, just so that you have it and you can see what I mean by that. Another thing, I don't just use text in my informational emails. I also use images because you never know who's a visual learner. So like you can see here in this slide, you know, I mean, because I break it down by section in the email. This is obviously talking about the meal plan specifically. So when you're talking about color-coded portion control containers, people are like, frig the what? Like they have no clue what you're even talking about. So like having that visual there is absolutely key. You want to show rather than, it's okay. I paused on your slide. We're going to go back to your slide because I didn't want you to miss it. So you want to show rather than simply tell, and images really help you do that. Break it down into simple sections in your informational email. So the first thing I focus on is the fitness. The second I focus on is the meal plan, and then I segue into Shakeology. Fourth thing, the support and accountability. So a nugget about my group. One thing I've been doing is like I'll screenshot a really awesome screenshot from our challenge group that we have going on because everybody in there is like so fiercely awesome. And I love sharing a screenshot of just like a clear example of the support and accountability and the badassery and the love and just the awesomeness that is happening in there to be like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of this? And so that's, you know, another like image that I share in my email. And then the fifth thing is pricing. If you feel that the timing is right to share the pricing, but I'll share more nuggets with you guys on how to share the pricing effectively, because there is definitely an effective and an ineffective way of sharing the pricing for things. The other thing I do is I also include the Shakeology charts as attachments, and I encourage my people to open them because it explains to them, okay, these are the ingredients in Shakeology. Here's what it does to support your body. So if people have any questions as to whether or not like they're getting the best bang for their buck, when, you know, you say Shakeology is $130 retail value, I mean, just because it's, you know, cleared up your skin or strengthened your hair or helped your gut issues, that doesn't matter to them. They want to know why. You know, like, sure, it works for you, but why? And why does it work for like almost everybody, with the exception of people who are obviously allergic? Moment of silence for those people. Okay, so getting back to Kayla's slide. So the other thing, getting creative with your time and adjusting as needed. By that I mean, you know, if personal development is falling by the wayside, that's going to be so huge. So like you could put on a workout and you know the program well enough, I'm sure by now, where you can just mute it and listen to a podcast or a book on Audible or a YouTube video or National Wake Up Call, whatever. Or, you know, driving in the car, obviously, that's another great time. Or when you're in the shower, because we all shower, I hope, especially because of the line of work that we're in and the fierceness that, yeah, I'm like, I worked out so many hours ago and I'm like still sticky. It's disgusting. So also adjusting your expectations and tuning into the necessary. I mean, it's so easy to want to do everything. And Kayla, I know you and me, our inner J is fierce, right? We're both ENFJs. We want to do everything and we just want everything to be perfect, but that doesn't exist. So what you really have to do is just tune into what's absolutely necessary. Because if you're so hyper-focused on having everything be perfect and doing absolutely everything, nothing's going to get done. And then like, what does that accomplish? You know, like really just, and that's something that, you know, we can work on like on our one-on-one call is like really hammering down those specifics. Like I said, working in power pockets, and then accountability structured to meet your needs, meaning, you know, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. It's sort of going to, I'm going to touch upon that in what I say about the the coach mentorship as well. But like crafting a business activity tracker that works for you, what you need, the time you have, and the essentials. Because I realize not everybody does this full time like I do. So it's important to establish that for yourself so that you're doing what you need to do to see movement, as opposed to not doing anything because you're just overwhelmed and you feel like, what do I do? So we already talked about how do I get a yes. Now I want to talk to you guys about the new Fierce Fit Pride coach mentorship. And it's not, a new coach basics or anything like that. It's totally different. So it's a system for goal setting, accountability, and growth. And second bullet, this is not meant to be one more thing to add to your plate. If you want to see growth in your business, these are absolutely things that you should be doing already, no matter what. And essentially, it's going to look like this. And I can show you guys, more specifically, because I have my tabs up. But in the Google Drive, I have created a folder for the Fierce Fit Pride Coach Mentorship. In that folder, each one of you who decides, yes, I want to see growth in my business, I want to be held accountable for doing the things that I need to do to see growth in my business. And again, like, I'm the only person on our team who is full-time. So don't by any means think that this is going to be like some super chaotic, crazy thing. It's not. It's meant to work for anyone and everyone who, wants to do this part-time. So you'll each have your own folder. And I will obviously share that folder with you. Now, your folder will hold 3 components: a one-on-one call document, which I'll show you, a business activity tracker document that works for you, that we've either created together or you've created on your own. Or because I know, like Brenna, for example, she has one that she uses. There will be a place where she can upload that week's business activity tracker into that folder at the end of the week, so that I can, help her and see, I'll be able to see everybody's business activities to help and encourage and know sort of where you guys are at with your business activities. And so in that way, it will also help me prepare, for our one-on-ones as well. And then the third thing is a weekly goal setting document. So it doesn't have to be, anything crazy, but at the start of the week, you should be thinking like, okay, what am I working on this week? Right? Like you would at any job. And that's part of what I shared, in the call-in information on the team page is like, this is a business, right? This is a job. So regardless of whether or not you're part-time or you're full-time or whatever, you have to work at a job to make an income, to see growth in your business. So it's obviously important to have that structure and to have that vision and that clarity on what you're doing to make that happen. Because this isn't something that's like, oh, you get a salary for just showing up. It's something that you create for yourself, and it has uncapped, limitless potential, but you got to do something about it. So, and then the other thing I just wanted to know is that, based on me checking in, like reading through, goals for the week and reading through business activity trackers, et cetera, I'm going to be creating coach mentorship tips and topic, either videos or posts, and I'll be sharing them in the PS Coaches page throughout the week to help you guys with the areas that you need support on, because your goals are my goals. Now, that being said, obviously, like for example, Melissa is Kayla's personally sponsored coach, and Becky is Brenna's personally sponsored coach. So, and I can show you what that's going to look like. So like Kayla's going to have her folder, right? And I'm going to share that with her. In her folder, she'll have, like I said, the one-on-one call doc, your business activity tracker of sorts, your goal setting document, and you'll also have Melissa's folder in your folder so that I can see Melissa's folder and so that you can see Melissa's folder. Get what I'm saying? So it's like a tunnel. kind of thing. So anyway, okay. So this is what your weekly goals document will look like. So for example, for the week of April 24th, these are my goals. Help 3 people to enroll under Dakota, because I want to start building his business center. Share the business opportunity in my challenge group and individually message those people that, like I said, are standing out, like, you know, their points are, you know, up there on my point board. Plan out the details of the new coach mentorship, which I've sort of obviously started doing because I have them all here. But I mean, putting your folders together once I get the, yeah, Meg, I'm in, like, I want to do this, you know? So get coaches squared away with their own files in the Google Drive. Plan out new coach mentorship training topics, and start and finish the Fierce Fit Pride team testimonials video. I'm starting that on Tuesday, and I want to share that, you know, as soon as possible, because prep week for our challenge group is next week. And then this is the one-on-one mentorship call details. So before we have our mentorship call, our one-on-one call, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, depending upon what you need and the accountability that you want, you'll just fill out the date and time of the call that we've established together, the questions you have or any areas where you're struggling, so that I know to come prepared to our call with things that are obviously going to be helpful, and guided questions that are going to help you find the answers where need be. And then after our call, my job is to go into this file and type a little nugget about what we discussed. And if I gave you a call to action for that week, like say you were struggling, I don't know, say you were struggling in a certain area, and I said, okay, here's a call to action that I would encourage you to complete for this week. I would just, you know, plug in right there, like, this is the call to action to help you with that area where you're struggling. And then obviously, you know, we would check in throughout the week, and you'd let me know when you've completed that call to action. Or you could, if you wanted to, you could even make a little note about how that went or how things are improving in that area where you're struggling. Capiche? Then, so this is, I'm a pen and paper person, so I haven't started using this yet. And it's something that, for me, I would really like to start doing. So, I mean, I created this as a means to, you know, share with you guys. This is sort of like what it would look like if we decided to come up with a Google Sheets document in your folder. And the cool thing is, like, your sheet 1, I mean, you could just keep adding sheets, and that way you sort of have a, you know, physical evidence, so to speak, of the growth you're making, the progress you're making, the areas where, you know, you need a little extra TLC, that kind of a thing. So that's the cool thing about that. So basically week of, month, and then I have monthly goal, which, you know, you could change it to weekly goal, whatever you want, even though, but, you know, obviously we've sort of established weekly goals. So it might actually be best to use this space as a place to identify your monthly goal, because obviously what you do is going to compound and make for either a great month or not so great month. So these nuggets right here, this all has to do with attracting, connecting, and inviting. So number of friend requests, new connections, invites, follow-ups, posts on social media. And here in this column, I have minimum weekly goal. So I'll fill out like what my minimum weekly goal is for all these things. And then I'll plug in, you know, how many I did on Monday, how many I did on Tuesday, so that by Sunday I'm able to see, yeah, I met my minimum weekly goal, I didn't, or I surpassed it. That way, you know, you can sort of see like, okay, do I need to adjust these numbers? It's a telling thing. You know, is this working for me, or do I need to adjust these numbers? So proof of products, workout and Shakeology, obviously personal development. So for me, You know, I want to do 30 minutes of like just personal development. I want to do 30 minutes of business personal development. That may end up being more depending on, you know, what I end up plugging in. You never know. Recognition. So challengers, whoops, I can't spell points. Nope, sorry. So using the challenge points board and also like calling them out in the challenge group, coaches, and then success club. My minimum weekly goal would be to help at least one person a week to hit the goals that I want to hit. So that is, you know, basically sort of kind of what it looks like. So I haven't finished, and the thing is, I edited these specific documents the way I wanted to show them to you. However, like, so Brenna, for example, like this would be like Brenna's weekly goal setting thing. I included a folder for her BAT uploads because I know that she, you know, has it on her actual computer, or she can, you know, just screenshot it and like post, like upload an image of the screenshot into that, for example. And then this would be Becky's folder so that she would have access to Becky's folder and I would have access to Becky's folder, because obviously, you know, upline coaches mentor their own coaches. And it's also, I feel my responsibility to help both you and your PS coaches, because we're a team and that's what you do as a team. So I'm just going to stop share for a second. And all those people are still planting seeds. So even if they are only interested now, they may be committed and ready later. We all do have phases in our life and when we are ready, but 200% agree with Mike says. You are welcome. Yes. Okay, awesome. So that's good to know, Bren, that you are open to making a new business activity tracker. So overall, like show of thumbs or whatever, like how are we feeling about this idea of having that structure and that accountability? I'm breaking a sweat around our goals and, you know, really plugging into a system that will be foolproof if used. Thoughts? Be confident with that? Becky, how are you feeling about that, boo? Good. Okay. So, I mean, if you guys, so we have a little more than 4 minutes left, right? Why is it? Oh yeah, it like stopped weirdly. Do you guys have any questions about this idea around of, you know, the coach mentorship or anything like that?
Are you going to help us like restructure a business activity tracker?
Yeah. If that's something that, you know, you feel you need help with, I'm absolutely more than happy to do that with you.
I just haven't printed anything because it doesn't end up being enough space.
You're breaking up, Bren.
I've really been using one whole page for one day. Sorry. I've been using one page for one day.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, you're frozen again.
Just like, never mind.
I'm sorry. No, but I heard you. I heard that you said you were using one whole page for one day. And I know that in the past you were using like something on your computer. Do you feel like that's something you'd want to do, sort of like how I structured it?
I mean, I only used it on my computer because I printed it out. Mm-hmm. The pen to paper for me makes a huge difference.
Okay.
If you transfer it to like a master list, which if everyone else in this call doesn't have, you need to have right now, start tonight. Because the papers will get lost, but these are good to go back to, like, hey, I'm going to go look at someone who I invited 4 weeks ago. Maybe it's time to invite them again instead of looking through my 70-page document with notes. Some people have Excel sheets or everything like that, but I found that the pen to paper writing is better for me than the like typing on a computer.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome insight. Thank you for sharing that.
But I can print it out. But I mean, it's very much like what Shalene Johnson always says, like there is research that like when you write things down, there's a bigger connection in your brain. So you're remembering who you're inviting versus when you're doing it all on the computer.
Right. And like I said, I didn't say this, but the business activity tracker that I just showed you guys, like it doesn't have a space for you to, plug in your invites. I mean, you could on a separate sheet, but like I think it is important. I know you said, making a master list. I mean, I personally think that, having a pen to paper list each week of who you're forming with, who you've added, who you're inviting, like that is key. Cause like Brenna said, you can go back a few weeks later, if a person's like, no, not now, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. And you can just be like, I know it wasn't a good time a few weeks ago. Wasn't sure if now's better timing. This is what's going on. I'd love to have you, X, Y, Z. So anyway, we have less than a minute. I do just want to say, though, that I'm not going to hound people for one-on-one calls because obviously as a business owner, it's your responsibility to take responsibility for your business. And I'm here to help and, make that time for you. But you have to obviously want to be willing to make that time. So I encourage you to do that because when you do that, great things can happen and you all have incredible potential to do really big things. So we'll probably get cut off, so I'll cut it off here now. And just shoot me an inbox. Let me know if you're in. Like I know y'all gave me thumbs up, but either way, let me know if you're in or you're out so that I know for sure. Okay? I hope you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.